My name is Lena, and my story begins in the city of Denver, where I grew up as a 24-year-old woman full of dreams, hope, and an unshakable belief in love. From a very young age, I held tightly to the romantic ideals I saw in movies, books, and the stories told by the women in my family. I believed that marriage was the beginning of a beautiful journey, that my wedding night would be magical and filled with laughter, tenderness, and the kind of love that makes life worth living. I used to imagine myself in a flowing white dress, surrounded by family and friends, with the man I loved looking at me as though I were the most precious soul on earth. That vision kept me going through difficult times, and I carried it with me like a lantern lighting the path toward my future. I believed so strongly that love was meant to be gentle, safe, and filled with joy, and I never questioned that my own story would unfold in this way, but life has a way of turning our deepest expectations upside down. I learned this in the harshest way possible. My marriage was not built on love, mutual choice, or the excitement of two people deciding to build a life together. It was arranged by my father and another man he trusted deeply, a man who would soon become my father-in-law. I had never met my husband, Aaron, before the wedding. I had never spoken to him, never seen his smile, never heard his voice. This decision was made entirely outside of me, based not on affection, but on family connections and long-standing trust between two fathers. My own desires, my dreams, my right to choose were not considered. My family believed, with modest hope and pride, that this marriage would bring stability and happiness to my life. Even though we were not wealthy and our circumstances were humble, they believed this union would be a step forward, a way to secure a bright future for me. I wanted to believe it too, so I silenced my doubts and chose to see it through the lens of hope, imagining that love would come after the vows. The wedding day itself was grand, far more extravagant than anything I had ever experienced. The hall was filled with guests, vibrant music, and traditional decorations that seemed to sparkle under the golden lights. I wore a deep red dress, a color chosen for its symbolism of love and passion, though in my heart I felt a quiet tremor of fear and uncertainty. I looked for Aaron's face as I walked through the crowd, and when our eyes met for the first time, I felt a coldness I couldn't explain. He stood tall and serious, his expression unreadable, his body language distant. Where I had expected a smile, I saw formality. Where I had hoped for warmth, there was only restraint. Our initial interaction was brief, just a few polite words exchanged in front of countless eyes. There was no shared laugh, no subtle gesture of affection, just the sense of two strangers bound together by tradition rather than desire. Still, I told myself that perhaps he was simply nervous, that love might bloom quietly in the days to come. That night, I discovered how wrong I was. The wedding night, the moment I had envisioned for years as sacred and tender, became the darkest and most traumatic experience of my life. When the door closed behind us, Aaron's demeanor shifted from cold to cruel. There was no gentleness in his voice, no kindness in his touch. He did not see me as a partner or a person deserving care. Instead, he treated me as if I were an object, a possession to be used and discarded. Then came the words that shattered me completely. He accused me of impurity, of being with another man before him, a false and vicious claim that struck me like a physical blow. I had done nothing wrong, yet he looked at me with contempt, as though I were unworthy of even standing in his presence. Before I could even process what was happening, he demanded that I leave the marital home immediately. He ordered me to remain silent about what had transpired, to tell no one the truth. As though my pain were something to be hidden away, I left that house in the middle of the night, my heart pounding, my body shaking. When I arrived back at my parents' home, my mother wept as she took me into her arms. My father, usually strong and commanding, stood in silence, his face pale with shock and shame. But their comfort could not protect me from what came next. Rumors began to spread quickly through our community, fueled by Aaron's lies. People whispered that I had been unfaithful, that I had brought dishonor to my family. No one asked me for my truth. No one believed my tears. I went from being a newlywed to an outcast in a matter of days. The weight of that false narrative crushed me. I stopped speaking, stopped eating, stopped engaging with the world. I locked myself inside my own mind, drowning in shame and heartbreak. I felt invisible, voiceless, like my existence had been erased by a single cool night. Months passed in this fog of despair, and I began to believe that I might never return to life again. Then, one seemingly ordinary afternoon, everything began to change. I went to a small coffee shop near my home, desperate for a brief escape from my suffocating reality. That's where I met Daniel. He was sitting at a corner table, reading quietly, his presence calm and steady like a warm breeze after a long winter. When our eyes met, he smiled, not the forced politeness I had seen at my wedding, but a genuine, gentle smile that seemed to say, "I see you." We exchanged a few simple words that day. Nothing extraordinary, yet something inside me shifted. His kindness felt different, safe. Over the next few weeks, we saw each other again and again at the same coffee shop. Our conversations began slowly, without pressure or expectation. For the first time in months, I felt like I could breathe. Daniel never asked for details I wasn't ready to share. He simply offered his presence, listening without judgment, giving me space to exist without fear. Over time, his quiet support became a lifeline. I began to feel tiny sparks of hope rekindling in my chest. Eventually, I found the courage to tell him the full story of my marriage and that horrific night. I spoke through tears, my voice shaking, but Daniel never interrupted, never questioned me. He just listened, his eyes steady, his hand resting softly on mine. When I finished, he didn't respond with pity or anger. Instead, he said the words that began to heal me. "I believe you." Those 3 simple words gave me back my voice, my strength, my sense of self-worth. With Daniel's encouragement, I began to reclaim my life. For the first time since that night, I was able to sleep peacefully, knowing that someone truly saw me and understood my pain. Daniel reminded me that I was more than the lies Aaron had spread, more than the shame my community had cast upon me. Slowly, step by step, I started to rebuild. Daniel helped me see that my story had power, not just to heal me, but to help others. With his support, I decided to speak publicly about my experience. The first time I stood before a small group of women and told my truth, my knees trembled and my voice wavered. But when I looked into their eyes, I saw my own pain reflected back at me. These women, too, had been silenced, shamed, and broken by circumstances beyond their control. That day, I realized I wasn't alone. Together, we began a support group, a safe space where women could share their stories, cry freely, and begin to heal collectively. Week after week, more women came. They brought their wounds and their courage, and together we created a community of resilience. My pain transformed into purpose. What once felt like a curse became a source of empowerment. As I watched these women find their voices, I felt my own voice grow stronger. Healing was not a straight path. There were setbacks, moments of anger and grief, but through it all, we supported each other. During this time, I also came to a profound realization. I was falling in love with Daniel. This love was unlike anything I had ever known. It was patient, respectful, and safe. Daniel never rushed me, never demanded anything I wasn't ready to give. His love was steady, like a lighthouse guiding me home through the storm. When we decided to marry, I wanted something different from my first wedding. There would be no grand hall, no overwhelming crowd, no empty traditions. Instead, we had a small, intimate ceremony, surrounded only by the people who truly cared for us. I wore a simple dress, and Daniel looked at me with eyes full of tenderness. When he spoke his vows, he said, "You are my home." Those 4 words healed a part of me I didn't even know was still broken. Together, Daniel and I continue to run the support group, expanding it to reach girls, parents, and even boys, teaching them about respect, kindness, and the importance of healthy relationships. Our mission is to create a world where no woman has to endure what I went through, where love is never used as a weapon, and where everyone has the tools to heal. My past no longer defines me. It does not control my identity or dictate my future. I see myself now as a survivor, a woman rebuilt from the ashes of her pain, someone who chose love wisely and courageously to anyone listening who has suffered as I once did. I want you to know this. A single night of trauma does not define you. A heartbreak, no matter how devastating, does not determine your worth. There is healing, there is hope, and there is a love that is gentle, patient, and kind waiting somewhere in the future. You deserve to be safe, to be cherished, to be seen for who you truly are. My journey began in darkness, but it led me to light. Today, I stand here not just for myself, but for every woman who has been silenced. Together, we can create a world where our voices rise, our stories are honored, and our pain is transformed into strength. If my story has touched you, I ask you to share it, to speak up, and to join me in building a future filled with healing and compassion. My name is Lena, and this is my truth, my journey, and my message to you. Never stop believing in the power of love and the possibility of beginning again.